At the moment in the cycle of studying Tanya, for those people who study the daily Tanya, so the cycle that we're learning at the moment is a section called Shar HaYuchud VaHaEmuna, which is all about the processes that Hashem uses in order to create the world. And one of the principles that the Alter Rebbe teaches there in the name of his mentor, the Baal Shem Tov, is that the creation was not a once-off event 5,780 years ago, but rather, as we say in our davening, that Hashem renews the process of creation consistently every single day and throughout the day. In other words, our belief is that Hashem is intimately involved with every single thing that happens, not just because He directs what is happening, which is what we call Hashgacha Pratis, that there is oversight, but more than that, Hashem actually brings everything and every person and every situation into existence at every moment. And he gives a whole explanation why that is and why it has to be that way. But the Rebbe asks a question. There's no such thing as why it has to be. God is all powerful, and He could have chosen to design our world and to structure it and to keep it going in any which way that He wanted. So it was absolutely possible that at the beginning of creation, Hashem could have put a particular kind of creative energy in place that would keep everything going as long as He wanted it to go, and He could have theoretically stepped back and had no personal interaction with the world, and we would never know the difference. Our world would exist as is. So why did He choose to specifically engage in the creative process consistently? Like the verse says, Le'olam Hashem devorcha nitzav b'shamayim. Hashem, your words always stand in the heavens. And the word nitzav, in addition to meaning stand, can also mean causes to stand. In other words, stabilizes the world. Why did Hashem choose to do that? Now, of course, let's think how life would be if, theoretically, God had decided that right at the beginning He'd give the world one big push and it would continue to exist for as long as He had intended it to go. Whether that be 1,000 years or 1,000,000 years, it'd be irrelevant. He has infinite ability and power. He could have done it. So the reason that Hashem chose specifically to create the world in this way, and by the way, this theme is reflected in many things that happen throughout the Torah, because throughout the Torah we often see situations where, number one, Hashem is, so to speak, engaged with the world. He kind of interferes with the world. It's called miracles. And number two, you see how often when Hashem interferes with the world in a miraculous fashion, He designs the miracle in such a way, often, so as to disrupt the world as little as possible. We have an example of that in the upcoming parsha, because in the upcoming parsha there's the challenge of Korach against the leadership of Moshe, and one of the ways in which Hashem illustrates that Moshe is correct in his decision, and Aaron, his brother, is supposed to be the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, is that he invites each tribe to bring a stick and to put it inside the Mishkan, the sanctuary, and whichever stick would miraculously blossom, that would be an indicator that that particular tribe is the one who is supposed to serve. And it turns out to be the stick of the tribe of Levi, and more specifically of Aaron the Kohen Gadol. Now, the story goes that you've got a stick, a dead stick. Nothing should sprout. And yet the Torah makes a big deal about the fact that not only did it produce blossoms, but it specifically says it flowered, it blossomed, it flowered, and then it produced almonds. And when Moshe brought that stick out, you could see on the stick the buds, the flowers, and the almonds, which raises a question. I mean, if Hashem wants to do this massive miracle and illustrate who's in charge, you don't need the process, which is a natural process. First buds, then flowers, then the almonds. Could have just put the almonds and it would have been compelling enough. But you see that Hashem very often, even when He engages the world directly, which shows that He is involved and in control, He specifically does it in a way that illustrates the natural process. In other words, He wants to kind of make things more palatable to us, accessible to us. And that's really the message here. The message is that Hashem could have created the world with one big push right at the beginning, and we and He would have had very little opportunity for relationship, because there would have been this massive chasm between creator and creation. But Hashem insists rather to engage the world on an ongoing basis, to allow every moment of every day a personal connection between us. Because if we feel that we have that personal connection, we feel empowered, we can actually do something in the world. We actually count for something. We're not just 5,780 years away from the original creation, the last time Hashem was involved in this world, which would mean that we're actually quite meaningless other than for the little bit of time that we walk on this earth. Hashem doesn't want us to feel that way, and He doesn't want us to be non-valuable. He wants us to have a value. He wants us to be able to make a contribution. And that's why He keeps coming into our life consistently on a daily basis, as the Alter Rebbe describes it, every moment of every day, recreating our reality and re-inviting us to have a meaningful impact on the world.